Is that?
Okay.
Now it is. Thank you. I'm
Yes.
going to be posting the information about Kashish and about all the rest of the speakers on the chat. So if you guys want to connect with them, please feel free. You will have their Instagrams and websites and everything over there.
Great. Okay. So next in my list is Mr. Michael Sode. Mr. Michael Sode is a visionary behind Nusa, a jewelry brand based in Bali that not only produces exquisite and sustainable silver jewelry, but also champions traditional techniques and supports local artisans. Welcome, Michael. Please say hi.
Hello, everyone.
There you go. Third on my list, of course, is Araceli Gallego, our very own. Araceli is a sustainable fashion advocate and speaker and is the powerhouse behind GoShopia.com, the home of slow and sustainable fashion. The GoShopia team are also the ones behind Fashion Revolution UAE, Sustainable Souk, and the Sustainable Fashion Expo. Say hi.
Hello, everyone.
Welcome, Ara. And last but definitely not the least, Miss Bertha Cabrera. Bertha Cabrera is an advocate of ethical supply chains, a natural fiber researcher, creative director, and creator of Galera. Galera, based in Peru, is a brand that makes vegetable fibers into pieces of handmade art. Galera promotes the work of artisan communities that are found in several places of Peru to keep the tradition alive. Hi. Hi, Bertha. Please say hi.
Hello, everybody.
That's a wonderful panel. Thank you so much for being part of this panel discussion. So we move on to our actual, like the bread and butter of this this whole session. I'd like first, as a first question, and I'd like each of the panel to answer this, please. So in what ways does your brand showcase and embody craftsmanship? Does anyone want to come?
Kashish, you want to start?
Yes, I would go ahead with it. Hello, everybody. So I'm a fashion designer from last 15 years, and I was working with wedding and couture wear, which is all done with hand. And the entire transition to sustainability and a cultural sustainability began from we are thoughtful about what we are wearing, but we are being selective about it. At the same time, I wanted not just one day to be a big event in your life. I wanted to have that as you can embrace craftsmanship and modernity together in your everyday life also. So here, my entire perspective is to give a different perspective to fashion and bringing fashion and art together. It's a wearable art where we have weaved beautiful words of His Highness Sheikh Mohammed bin Rashid, who is the current ruler of Dubai, in the garments. So everything is hand embroidered, has story, and which is incomplete without your story. And the entire fabric is being upcycled and recycled on heirlooms. I just feel every craft we include adds your own touch and adds the touch of the person who's embracing it and passing on as the legacy. So yeah, that's how I use crafts with weaving impactful words in the garments, and which is about adding stories in your life.
That's great. That's very inspiring. Thank you so much. Michael, would you like to come next?
Yeah, okay. So yeah, craftsmanship is absolutely key to Noosa. It's what we're all about. It's our very identity. It's the reason that we exist. And it's about providing an alternative. As we see fashion over the years sort of homogenizing, we're seeing, mass production, fast fashion. And I think people are desperate to get back to something that feels real to them, something authentic. And with the pieces that we produce, it's not just the physical product, but it's about the heritage that got us to the point of producing that product, and it's about the soul of the artisan that goes into producing those pieces. So yeah, craftsmanship is everything if you want to have a choice.
Thank you. And Bertha, would you like to comment?
Thank you. Hello, my name is Berta. I'm from Peru, a country in South America. to provide some context to those of who may not be familiar with my country, traces of human presence in Peru dates back to over 10,000 before Christ. Craftsmanship is essential part of Peru history and therefore its culture. Peru's first settlers developed craftsmanship mainly through exploring different materials. I'm talking about long time ago. Pre-Columbian craftsmanship has been admired and well regarded for the variety of materials that the ancient worked with. Designs and techniques employed by the ancient inhabitants of Peru. I'm so sorry for my language because I don't speak English very well, but I am trying to do my best. These diverse expressions, these diverse expression of craftsmanship and Peruvian culture has been preserved in large part due to Peru's favorable climate, as well as the discovery of the artisan objects finding the tombs. Did you hear about Dama de Cao, the Señor de Zipan, as well as the discovery of these artisan objects in the tombs of ancient Peruvian who believe in the afterlives like African culture? Did you hear about that? Well, okay, let's go to the point. Our handcrafted pieces, I love to talk. Our handcrafted pieces are made in collaboration with artisans from different regions of our country, with the intention of prolonging and protecting our native materials, such as fibers, cotton, vegetable fibers, etc. Our ancestral techniques, and therefore our legacy. We put an effort towards training as well as educating the artisan we work with, because they have the technique, but they don't have the perfection in the design. Do you understand me? When they finish the piece, protecting our native materials, our ancestral technique, and therefore our legacy is the main. We put effort towards training, as I said, well as educated the artisans we work with in order for them to improve their techniques and implement appreciation for the final as well as design. The main problem is they made the piece, but they can't do in the best way. For this reason, the people here in my country doesn't value too much when they see something made by artisan or made handcrafted. And for this reason, we work to they improve and they better their expertise and make a final piece in a good way. Thank you.
That's fantastic. And of course, last but not the least, Araceli.
So I actually am wearing some earrings from Nusa. So I want you guys to see these beauties. I truly believe in what they're doing. And, you know, we are a marketplace, so we have a plethora of brands. And for us, it's actually very important to support craftsmanship because that is the purest and most beautiful way to bring back sustainable fashion. That cannot be lost to machine. That cannot be lost. That, you know, we can't afford as a society to lose all that for machines. So we have to support the artisans. That's what we do through our platform, and we have a lot of different brands that are labeled handmade because that's part of the philosophy. We have 3 S's: slow, sustainable, and socially responsible. And when you're working with artisans, you're actually covering the 3 of them. So, yep, that's a little bit about us.
That's great. Thank you so much. And please, if anyone else wants to search further for about these 4 wonderful people, we have their links and their Instagram accounts on the chat group. You will find so much value in just looking at their website. I have, and I want you to find that out for yourselves as well. As Michael had said, you will find the soul of the artists, even through their websites and their Instagrams, you will find them. Okay, so it'd be interesting to tackle the second questions. Anyone can answer. So what challenges do you think does traditional craftsmanship face in the fashion industry landscape? Are there any challenges that you have noticed?
Yeah, I'm happy to tackle that one. Yeah, there are a number of challenges. Certainly for us, the fact that our artisans are doing this as a labor of love. You know, it's not mass production, so they're not highly systemized. So, you know, it can be quite labor intensive for us to engage with them to develop new products and this type of thing. And often the lead time to actually getting a result can be fairly lengthy, which is fine because we take the longer term view. Many of our pieces are evergreen. So, you know, if it takes us several months to introduce a new piece, that's fine. You know, we're going to have that for a period of time. Whereas, of course, you know, with fast fashion, we're talking about very fast turnaround times where, you know, a fast fashion brand can come up with a design and sort of, you know, run off 10,000 pieces in a matter of a week. So there's some of the challenges. Is, you know, it's perhaps less efficient in some respects to produce, but it's also the advantage for smaller brands like us in that you know, we can afford to invest to do that, whereas larger brands couldn't make it pay. They couldn't actually scale it. So for a brand that is not looking to scale to sell, you know, 10,000 units of it, a given SKU, you know, we've got our niche there where we can be effective. So it's a bit of there are challenges, but there are also opportunities. That's the flip side.
Of course. So does that affect the desirability of handcrafted, handmade materials in terms of the lead time and all that?
Well, one of the value adds that we have is, you know, we kind of take that pain away for our customers in that, you know, we go through that process of developing the product and stocking it. We maintain higher stocking levels than what we would if we were doing sort of faster fashion, because we'd be able to do just-in-time ordering and that type of thing. So, you know, we become sort of the buffer to shelter our customers from those inefficiencies of you know, longer lead times for resupply and that type of thing. One point I will make, in case we don't get a chance to get to it as part of any of the other questions, is when you've got a handcrafted product and, you know, you're selling not just the physical product, but you know, like I said earlier, you know, the heritage and the soul that's gone into it, people value it more. So they will hang on to it. Whereas somebody buys something that's just come from a factory in China, you know, they'll buy it almost on a whim. They don't really value it. You know, there's no story to it. You know, so it's just as likely to go into sort of the next bag of garbage when they do a cleanup. So I think, you know, if we can communicate, you know, what it is that you get when you're getting a handcrafted piece, it adds that value for people. They perceive it as being of much greater value.
Yes, thank you so much for saying that. I'm sure that offers a huge encouragement for a lot of, like, especially for those startup businesses that are in the audience right now. I, for one, am one. So, anyone else wants to weigh in on that? The challenges.
I think I would like to add to it. I think the challenge is even the pricing, because everything is handmade.
Yes.
It doesn't have a consistency. Like, I'm into upcycling of the fabric. So even the fabrics are handmade. So, you know, if you find the consistency in the weaving, because everything is the handmade. So depending on the tightness of your hand, the weaving can look absolutely different. So it has its own beauty that, yes, even if the design is same, the fabric is same, yet it looks different. So you can have your independent style, this, you know, as a statement. And at the same time, it takes much more time. Like, we took around like a year to just make our fabrics.
Wow.
Versus we could have just sourced the fabric from somewhere and saved that. But then, as Michael rightly said, like, is there a story to it? Is there any emotion to it? And, you know, we all like to have different statement pieces. So yes, it adds more exclusivity, which can become a challenge if we want similar piece, yet it has its own difference. It becomes a little more expensive because so much man hours are gone in making the fabric and then embroidering over it. And like with the fast fashion pace, I think a lot of arts are dying. And especially like I'm right now in Dubai, but I come from India, which is culturally and has like a strong roots to heritage and craftsmanship. Like I was working on one of the crafts where there is only one family left who's actually doing that art. So, even like the art is dying, like, are we what we are really like? I think panel discussions like this, where we are actually educating and empowering people that what are we consuming? And at the same time, I think we love to talk about that, oh, we stayed in a castle, or we love to talk about that, oh, I love my grandmom's sari, which is like 50 years old or 100 years old, versus what are we consuming right now? Can we pass it on as a heritage, or can we pass it on as a legacy? So yeah, I think what we are loving and what we are consuming itself is like a big challenge in its way.
Yes, fantastic. No, that's right. That's completely right. And we also preserve the heritage and the tradition, right? Like as we are championing craftsmanship, which we don't want to lose in this era of mass production. That's our
I agree a lot with Kashish what he's saying, because as a marketplace, we work with many different artisans, and the price is normally a challenge. Because people, there is a disconnection between what people say they want and what they actually end up buying, right? And that's the difficulty. We all want beautiful handmade, but then when it comes to actually pay for it, there is a disconnection, and that's something that we need to overcome. I think through education, it's very important, as Michael said, if they know the history, if they know what it goes inside every little piece. As Kashish says, like, she is not buying even the fabric, she's creating the fabric herself, like this has an immense value. And I think that is the difficulty, that also now the attention span of consumers is so little, that they are just so used for instant gratification with this Shein, Temu, whatever apps, that they are really fast and you buy very cheap and you don't have a second thought about it. And you kind of like start maybe assuming that there is no story behind the things, when it's actually totally untrue. Everything has a story, even if it's not the story that you want to be contributing to. There is still a story, and I think it's important that we speak about this too, because we are creating with our choices what we buy and what we don't buy, how we live and how we decide not to live, is actually what we are contributing to the future. For me, craftsmanship is super key, because it's not only anchoring population, and this Berta can speak more. I work with some artisans in Colombia, and they are anchoring, our business is anchoring them to stay in the Amazonia and preserving the forest over there. If these people don't have a way to have income, they will end up going to the cities, working in whatever hotel, cleaning rooms or whatever. That is super sad. That tradition will get lost. Those skills will get lost, because this is not something that you go to school to learn. This is some techniques that go from within the family. The grandparents teach the parents teach the kids, and that's so on, so on. So if we skip one generation, we may be totally losing that craft. And that is super important, that we are also aware we cannot really afford losing that craft. This is human ingenuity over centuries that got us there in the first place. Yeah. So yeah, I totally agree with Kashish. We need to put it in perspective, and we need to be a little bit blunt about talking about it, because it is important that people know and get to appreciate what is behind.
Yeah, I think a very important part of what we do really is to communicate. We need to educate, our customers, and at the same time we need to accept that craftsmanship, handmade products, slow fashion is not necessarily for everyone. Not everybody is going to have an appreciation for it. Some people, will just go for the mass-produced thing that everybody is wearing that season. That's just the nature of things. But I think it's changing a lot as life is just moving so quickly, and people are looking to get a little bit more grounded. You know, to have you know, perhaps a piece of jewelry where you can hold it in your hand and see like every little you know, sort of mark from the manufacturer, you know, from the craftsman, you know, particularly something like our Handmade collection, where every piece is going to be unique because, you know, the artisan is there with a hammer, sort of planishing that silver to create that finish. You know, there are people out there that do appreciate that. So we've got to figure out how we reach those people, and then we need to make sure that we're communicating properly with those people so they understand, you know, what the product is and the heritage and what they're doing by buying one of those pieces.
Great.
Yeah. Berta.
Yes, I would like to add that in today's landscape, I believe it's become to norm in fashion to lean towards industrialized processes, as well as fast fashion companies, which obviously practice unethical labor. Craftsmanship, and how much is appreciated in society is at risk due to the practice fast fashion, since the market is getting used to micro trends coming out and getting popular every few minutes on social media. I'm afraid the market doesn't value original and handcrafted pieces. However, I feel that is why we need to continue advocating for craftsmanship, ancestral techniques, and ethical labor, because whilst consumer may be incentivized by lower prices, it's much more important for them to have ethical made pieces they can use in long run.
Yes. On that note, let me just jump into my next question, because that's a really good point. So how can we ensure, we've already mentioned about education, how can we ensure that craftsmanship continues to thrive in this era of fast-paced technology of mass production?
I think we are already taking steps with like Fashion Revolution, if you take an example, by having that conversation. We are already taking steps with it. Artisans collaborating with designers is a bigger platform. Like if you look at artisans, they are like rural people staying in the villages and all of that. I think we empowering them and giving them the work is like a step forward. Like these are like, I have worked with a lot of ladies who are not aware and as modern as what we are now, like with technology and with things like that. So taking steps to move forward with hand in hand with the designers and at the end, the consumers. Like I think as a designers and somebody like us who are already advocating and educating people about sustainability is so important. Like I was just, talking to somebody else, and it is, we teach kids about the good touch, bad touch, how different the world would be if we start talking about good fabric, bad fabric, like, little small education like that. Like the history of hand embroidery and craftsmanship goes far as Iron Age. It's not something new. Like we learn about one generation to the other or from one era to the other through this small textiles, through this craftsmanship. So it's been going on since generations. We have so many textile museums and all of that. These are like small steps. And, it's not about making like a huge change, but one step at a time can create that ripple effect. Like, look at how Fashion Revolution started 10 years back, maybe with not even 10 people. Now it is there in so many countries, and we are talking about that. It's a huge difference. So I think innovation where we are all like, with jewelry, with fashion, with handbags, with what kind of fabrics we are using, what kind of leather we are using, it's very important. So yes, with innovation, we are already bringing in technology. And like people like us who choose consciously to work with fashion and to work with sustainable fashion, where we are bringing this awareness and bridging the gap between the artisans and the modern world. And again, like, my entire reason of doing cultural sustainability was also that, yes, it is about the sustainability. Like, we normally have a division between the modern fashion and the traditional, where we resonate with craftsmanship. And like taking that small step, like how modern and cultural can go hand in hand, and it can be part of your everyday use also. You don't have to wait for one big occasion or for some milestone to be that part of your life. It can be with the small things, like what jewelry Arcela is wearing today is handmade, has so much of like soul to it, importance to it.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think the only way to make sure that all these skills are not lost is supporting them, educating the people, and making sure they are not only sustainable environmentally, yes, but also sustainable financially. And that there is a way for people to have a decent way of living out of their own creations. I think this is key. That's why in the first place I started Workshopia, and I think that resonates with everyone in the room. Really, that is really important that we preserve this one way or another. And actually, not all the crafts need to be super expensive. There's ways, there are affordability also in that, because you need to think of the pieces as an investment. I always think of the pieces that we sell in cost per wear, not in the, so if you have something that is going to be lasting you for a long time because it's so well made, it's so well stitched, I mean, I'm sorry, but it's going to cost you in the long run less than all those cheapy things you can find in fast fashion brands that you wash them, you iron them, and it's like, okay, the stitch is gone, right? I think it's important that we start thinking that it's an investment, not only in terms for the living of the people that are creating the craftsmanship, but also for ourselves, because if you love something, you're gonna have it for longer in your closet because it's gonna be awesome, it's gonna be well done. So I think also we need to shift the mentality, and we need to start investing in a different way into our own closet, really. That's my take.
Yeah. I think what we're seeing with fast fashion, really, it is innovation in a form. They've found ways to be very efficient at sort of producing large volumes of stuff, whether we need it or not. But I think on the craftsmanship side, we need to innovate as well. It's just we innovate in different ways. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, if I look at Noosa, it's not necessarily just the cost of producing the piece of jewelry that presents pricing challenges. It's all the other things that go with that. So every time we produce a piece, we need to get product photography done. We need to do photo shoots with models, and that gets expensive. Now, if you're a large brand and you're selling 1,000 pieces, you're spreading the cost of that photo shoot across 1,000 pieces, so it's not really inflating the price. But when you're doing much smaller production runs, you're having to spread those costs across fewer pieces, and that makes for a pricing challenge. So I think the ways in which we can innovate is through things like collaborations. So at Noosa, when we've done photo shoots, we often try and find a clothing brand where we get together. We make sure that it's a good fit, visually and in terms of our demographic, etc. And that brings our costs way down because we can actually do like a cost share on that content creation. We innovate as well by finding models who are not just models but can also be ambassadors for the brand and who have audiences, so that we can start to reach people and communicate without having to pay the likes of Google and Facebook, which obviously would just add again to what would be the cost of acquisition.
Yeah. And also we need to think of the MOQs in the case, for example, of creators that need, for example, Kashish, you're doing your own fabric, but there is people that need to buy the fabric. And when you go to the distributors, you find that the MOQs are huge, and it will basically, like, it's not what you are intending, just to buy so much fabric for a particular piece. So I think also this is a challenge that small creators are facing in terms of the of being actually, yeah, doing craftsmanship and being small. Yeah. It's the beauty and the difficulty all in the same box.
Okay, I really would like to raise this question before I lose I'm a bit cautious of the time, but this question is really interesting for me. Like, how does craftsmanship impact the development of society? And I know a lot of you have really good opinions about this. It'd be interesting to hear about them. So how does your craftsmanship impact the society that you're in? How do they impact the societies in general all over the world?
Okay. Craftsmanship is vessel for connection to our origins and where we come from. And I believe it is path toward our future as well. Craftsmanship was developed through exploring, and now that we are nearly at a post-exploring time in society, now that we have all the information in the world in our fingertips, thanks to our phone and laptops, I believe craftsmanship is essential to preserve the history and the soul of every society.
Yeah.
Cool.
You frozen? Berta?
No.
No frozen. Okay.
Does anyone else want to weigh in?
Yeah, I think in our case, it's not so much, how does the craftsmanship evolve the society, as much as it slows down change that would otherwise have been imposed upon the society from, the outside world. We produce in Bali, our artisans are Balinese. Now, a lot of Balinese are working in the tourist industry, but unfortunately, they tend to have to leave their villages to go to work in the tourist industry. And because road infrastructure is fairly poor, it's not practical for them to return home in the evening. So they end up separated from their families. A lot of the money that they earn in the tourist industry, they have to spend close to where they're working, for their food, etc. So the money's not necessarily always making its way back into the villages. So in many cases, craftsmanship is about slowing down the pace of change so that people have time as a society to adapt. And what we're seeing, certainly in our case, is it's allowing those villages to thrive in their what is their cottage industry, and they're finding that their earnings are going up. So we're now seeing a situation where artisans have got the money to actually put their children through school. They can go to university, so they are still changing. They are evolving. But I think the most powerful thing is the fact that they're actually slowing down what would have otherwise been a very destructive pace of change for them.
I think it is even about you are actually preserving the culture, passing on as a legacy, and at the same time, you are giving employment. So you're looking at the economic growth as well. Saving art and the culture is, I think, important part. And every designer or in every way, people promoting craftsmanship, these artisans are actually waiting for you for the next season as well, and the next season as well. So it's ongoing thing, and we all know that what we actually love doing it, we thrive in that. So these artisans, if we are not giving them work, they don't love to go to the city and work towards something which they are not comfortable with. By giving them the employment, we are not only looking at the economic growth, but even the well-being, the mental well-being and the health of the generations and the family too. Like, how close are we to our own legacy from generations to come? We like to talk about that. Is the same way with that. And you are passing on not only as a cultural or the heritage, but even stories which empowers. And I think it's the story which, make the people to come together and make community. Like here we are all together and making a community because there is a purpose to it. So I think a strong community has a larger impact on changing and making the difference as well. And we are all now talking about being mindful and, looking at what is your body desiring. But at the same time, your clothes or the jewelry, what you're wearing, has your own energy and vibration as well. So if you're reflecting on inside of you, are you reflecting on what is on you? So your journey towards mindfulness and better body and better future and all of that is not possible without considering and being thoughtful about and slowing down and being present. We all talk about breath work and meditations and different way is getting slowness, as Michael said, and being present with it. I think all the craftsmanship is about being present, and how ripple effect it is, like the person who's making, the person who's wearing, the person who's passing on as the legacy. It's a ripple effect which is not only about you or creating a better planet. It involves community at larger, which logically we'll never be able to make a sense of it, but yes, you are. It's like a butterfly effect, right? Like you doing little change here can have such a greater larger impact on the world.
Yeah.
To add on that, can I?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, to add on that, I think that's the main conflict. That's the main conflict. Do we decide to preserve our history and the soul of our society, or choose the development and industrialization? It's a trade-off which I think made the ethics and the craftsmanship complex. I think we should innovate and appreciate craftsmanship, so that the artisans' works is properly valued and they want to continue working in craftsmanship. I think it would be helpful.
Yeah, I agree also with Berta. But I think craftsmanship, the impact is huge. Like what I said, for example, if Berta is supporting also artisans that are in the middle of nowhere in Peru. Like these people anchor population to rural areas. Rural areas is where our food normally grows. We need people there. Let's not forget that, you know? We need the people doing a little bit of everything. Not everybody wants to be a lawyer, an economist, or an IT person, you know? Like, I think we need to develop a sense of empowerment into our own choices as individuals, and that is the way that we can support our societies to grow, because we are doing what makes us happy, where we're going to be thriving. What Kashish was saying is so true. Like if they don't want to go in reality, but they may not have a choice because they may need to go somewhere else to find a living. So I think it's super important that we give them the alternative, at least, like, hey, you want to do this, there is a market for your crafts. And if you don't, then it's your own personal choice if you think this is not for you. But at least they have an option. And I think also at the economic level, craftsmanship should be more preserved by the governments. I think in this, they should be doing a better job, making sure that the people that are preserving these techniques, they would have some tax relief or some sort of support, because this way they will be able to keep on producing in a more, you know, you cannot compete with China, as we said before. So then, okay, the governments that want us to preserve this legacy, would be fantastic if they could support more the artisans and the people that are supporting the artisans to make their way. Because this is also something that I guess, Berta, when you're working with them, when you're doing your own brand, you probably face. The artisan is amazing at doing the pieces, but don't ask them to put a website up and maybe start selling. They don't know what you're talking about. Yeah. So this is the thing. Everybody is good and everybody has a role in this. So I think, like, same as us, we do the website, we do the connection with the consumers, but we cannot do the amazing pieces that our artisans are doing. That is their craft. That's unique. That's, you know. So I think everybody has to help. The next step would be, okay, the consumer supporting, buying, you know, sharing the story, like, oh, I'm wearing this, you know, what is it coming from? This is the story behind. That way we talk about it. I think that's a ripple effect that we need, not only on the backside, on the production side, but also forward as consumers. Be proud of what you are wearing. Be proud of where is it coming from, the story. I think we should be really more open about what we're wearing, because we have all the reasons to be proud of. You know, I did this, I did that. This is coming from this beautiful place that they're doing this project. I think this is really something super important that would have a ripple effect. That will have a multiplier effect, because if I tell you I love this, then you probably will check it out. You probably may end up buying something, and that you will maybe mention to someone else. And I think it's how it works, especially for craftsmen. The word of mouth, I think, is key.
Like we all love to go to the textile museums and, look at what was then. Like just ask yourself how many pieces are there in your wardrobe, which maybe 100 years from now or 50 years from now, somebody would like to keep in the museum.
Hmm.
And if you look at it, it is not there. It's not about being sorry, but just looking into it that, it's time to just wake up and look into that. What are we creating?
True. Very true.
Yeah.
I want to read something that Marita is writing on the side, because I think it comes very handy. I know you cannot see this part, so I'm going to read it. Marita is saying, about preserving craftsmanship is fundamental to do the certification, the traditional production, so you can preserve the heritage part of the culture. It is very effective for the crafters, for the communities, and for the new approaches to craft. I agree with you, Marita. There must be a way that the governments, I don't know, detect what kind of crafts they want to preserve, and they put some sort of support really on the people that are doing those crafts. I totally agree with you.
I think if I'm not wrong, there is one organization which is called CSA. It's called Cultural Sustainability Academy, which is they have like different, like they go to different villages and they have like, the entire certification and everything in terms of being ethical in your practice, in your supply chain and all of that, which not only certifies, but also educate you on that. So maybe if that's a little information which can help who's listening it right now.
Marita, you're saying that there is in Portugal a very effective way that you guys do it. Do you want to open the microphone and share with us?
Hi, I can open it, yes. I'm Marita. I have a sustainable brand. I work with crafters in my brand. Also work with crafters doing training, not only the preserving, but also transformation of the craft in more contemporary products for a better way for them to survive with crafters. So we have a very effective way in certifying the productions. We have until now 25 certified products that are certified by a Portuguese institute that also certifies medical things and so on. And it's a very strict way. So normally you have people who study the production, go through all these history documents, make them all the papers that are needed to justify this production, and why it's so important to certify. Normally, this is paid by the town hall of these local communities, because the crafters don't have the money to pay this certification. But the beneficiaries are the crafters, and also the local communities, and also the town halls, and also all the towns. Because when you certify a production, this goes to a level that now in Europe is this company that is certifying everything is in the European level. So these 25 productions are coming to a kind of list of European certified products in Europe. So it's a very effective. It's not so easy, but it's very strict. Also, we have a lot of evaluations. We also have a statal organism that give us the certification as a crafter. I have the certification as a crafter for because I do the sewing, I also do the crochet and knitting. So I also have this card that certifies that I'm a crafter. And for that, they went to my atelier and they saw me producing. So they give me the card when they saw it.
Everything.
So this is a very very, it's a controlled system, but is also a serious one, and also gives a lot to these productions that we have in Portugal. Sorry, I extend a little bit, but it's we have
very
more, but
interesting.
I could send you more information about it.
Thanks for sharing. Thanks for sharing a lot, Marita. I was just reading your message because Aisa doesn't have access to the chat box, I think, so that's why I thought it would be interesting to add, because it was precisely what this question was about. And now, Aisa, you can continue with the questions, my darling.
I think we have a question on the floor. I'd like to raise it before we run out of time, because I want to acknowledge the questions from the audience as well. This is from Anita. She said, my question is, how do you share your brand and product story? Do you think storytelling is a critical part of handmade products, and what kind of roadmap on building your brand story? Have you seen better engagement if you share impactful brand or product stories?
I think the brand story is absolutely critical. It's our competitive edge. You know, if you're talking about something that's been mass produced in China, where's the story behind that? There is no interesting story, is there? You know, it's just rampant commercialism. So I think storytelling is absolutely critical. There are probably any number of ways that you could tell the story. The big challenge that we find is actually getting the story in front of people. And I found that it can be difficult as a brand to get engagement from an audience. So we often rely on other people to help us to get that brand story out there. So, you know, there are people who are, you know, fashion stylists or, you know, sustainable fashion advocates that have got great social media following and an engaged audience, because the people are engaging with a human being rather than a brand. So getting those people to help to tell the story is a great way for a small brand to be able to differentiate themselves and show what it is that they're actually offering, show what the story is behind the brand.
Okay, great. Okay, cool. I don't think we have any more questions in the chat.
I have some in here also. You want me to read them?
Yeah.
So Smita says, enjoying the discussion. I feel if you really want to advocate the recycle, upcycle movement, we have to start with reducing consumption. So if we want to buy a handcrafted product, it is expensive. Save and invest in a conscious piece rather than just buy machine-made affordable products. Well, it was not a question, it was a comment. Sorry. But yes, Smita, yes, I agree. We want, of course, it would be amazing that we reduce the consumption, or just we are more mindful about what we consume to make it meaningful and to, you know, make sense really about what is behind. What do we want to? I don't know if you guys know this story about the wolves, the big bad wolf and the good wolf. Which one you want to feed is the one that is going to be there. So if you feed the bad wolf, eventually will eat you. So I think it's important that we reduce consumption indeed, but we have also to be supporting and actually I think it goes perfectly because artisans do not mass produce. They are actually made based on batches, you know, like, okay, so there is this need, this requirement, or this order, and then they create it based on that. They're not just sitting there producing nonstop, waiting for it to be sold. For them, it's a cost. So I think if we are able to slow down our lifestyle or habits and be really aware of what, you know, of what craftsmanship and slow fashion can bring to the front, I think it would be a fantastic way to really do that. Another comment from Marita. Craftsmanship is one of the dimensions of sustainability, one very important because it's also preservation of heritage and culture, and so important, the empowerment of local communities. Thanks, Marita. Very true. You see this, Aisa, or is it only on my screen?
I see, but I didn't follow where you found the last one. But
Okay.
Nadia has a question.
Okay, should I keep on reading from up down so that you follow the order? So Anita Sankar from Ask to Echo says, very interesting panel discussion and amazing work, all of you. Kudos. My question is, how do you share your brand and product story? Do you think storytelling is critical? This one you read already. Okay, so then it must have been like up and down. Ronaline from Weaver's Mills says the artisans, especially the IPs, has to be included and recognized as stakeholders, not just makers. Normally, they are underpaid and their work misappropriated. To keep the cultures and traditional craft evolving and preserved, a fair pay law should be in place in all countries. The traditional crafts are slowing down because the makers don't see it as sustainable financially. Very true. We agree with this. I think we need regulations that protects them and they can have a break about that. Yeah, and then Nadia. Yeah, you're right. If you see Nadia, then please go ahead and read it.
Okay, so how do you see the development of artisans' crafts in the future? Which is actually my last question to conclude everything. So that's interesting. Will it actually be able to beat mass production, Nadia says?
I think adding to even what Michael said about the brand story, it's not about just making a story to appeal somebody else. It's actually to even start with that, what do you truly believe in? Because if you believe in what you are doing, you can keep going. There are days like there is a lot of learning, unlearning throughout the journey. There is a lot of ups and lows in the journey, but being consistent in what you're communicating is the most important thing. And to answer Nadia's question about how do you see the development of artisans' crafts in the future, like there are a lot of different types of crafts available. And linking with what crafts do you really love and, would like to explore and nurture it. Because these artisans also, like as I said before, are waiting for, like if you give them work one season, they are waiting for you for the next season and henceforward. So if you take them along with you and support them, it's an ever-going journey that, you work for one season, give them work, you have more work and give them work. So that's how you keep the ball rolling, which helps in development of your brand identity and story and consistency, and at the same time developing their crafts, because depending on their work, they might also look at expanding their work. So it's a very correlation, goes hand in hand with them.
Does anyone else want to comment on this question? Will it be able to beat mass production?
Well, I think what we need to do is use our competitive advantage. We're never going to be able to compete on, volume and bringing down unit price. But at the same time, fast fashion cannot compete with craftsmanship. That they can't offer, a product with heritage. They can't offer a product with soul. They can't offer all of the extra things that come with purchasing something from an artisan. The benefits that it has to their society, the benefits it has to maintaining their traditions. So we need to use that competitive advantage. That's where the communication comes in. We need to be communicating constantly so that people understand what the true value proposition is. Not just, oh, I give X dollars and I get this piece of jewelry. It's well, what else am I getting when I buy this? And we need to be able to communicate that.
And yeah, it's not a race or a competition that whether craftsmanship will be able to beat the fast fashion. It's just the different perspective. Again, coming from the wedding couture wear, do you buy 10 wedding outfits to look into, let me see that on that day where I'm going to look good and what will look good? You consciously make your investment, you make effort of your time and the energy to invest in that outfit. Is the same thing, like what are you wearing today? Are you thoughtful about it? Are you giving that much of time, energy, and investment? Or are you thinking, oh, let me just buy this because it's cheaper? So it's not about that whether, fast fashion will go away or will craftsmanship win the award. It's not that. It's just that which way you want to divert yourself. And there are days you will love to have fast fashion. And then again, coming back to your own roots that, okay, I think I will choose to go with craftsmanship and adding that outfit, which is like so dear to you and which makes you smile, which makes the wearer smile, the weaver smile, So what are you trying and looking at creating in the world is the most important thing. It's not with what I would like to have or what Michael would like to have or anybody on this panel or anybody who's listening to would like to have. It starts with you basically.
As a consumer, yes.
Yeah.
All
I
right.
don't think we will be able either to beat mass production, to be honest. But I don't think that is an issue in reality, because mass production, we need first to consume really what we need. And I think if we are able to reduce the consumption and be really just buying what we are needing, I think we will be able to, yeah, we will. It's not really about beating mass production, is really like reducing our consumption and making more meaningful choices. And I think that's the balance for me, because I don't think the artisans will be happy if suddenly they have like, okay, you need to produce 1 million pieces. Probably they'll have a heart attack, honestly, because they take care and pride on the pieces. They cannot really outrun the machines. That's the truth. Also, I think that there is room in the market for everyone. In reality, it's a matter of choices, and it's a matter of being educated to know that you have those choices. If you are a student and you can only go for fast fashion and secondhand, good, go and enjoy it. But you know what we are trying to advocate in Fashion Revolution is like, but when you go and you buy whatever you're buying, even if it's secondhand, try to use it as much as possible. See how you can combine it with the rest of your things. See that, you know, it has a lot of wears, you know, and the closet is not there sitting doing nothing. Make sure you use your pieces. Be mindful about that. If we start all of us doing that, the change will be happening very, very fast.
Yeah, I think there's something else that often gets missed, I think, is if we start communicating, the benefits of something that's artisanal and well made and will last a lifetime, etc. If people start to value that, the fast fashion brands will start to see, oh, people are looking for something that's going to be long lasting. So they'll actually change their behavior so that they don't lose that market share. So they'll keep doing the mass production, but they will start to change it to better reflect the evolving values of the consumer.
Yeah.
No, I would like to say something, to add something. I completely agree what with Michael said, to know that craftsmanship is essentially art. Let's don't forget that it's different what we are talking about, another kind of thing. It's handcrafted and it's part on heritage and a cultural legacy. And like we were mentioning on the panel, we cannot compete, but we can educate. That's the point. Well, somebody is talking.
I think, yeah, we need, Babylin, can you mute yourself? Thanks, darling.
Okay, we can try to make our society more conscious and teach them to value the storytelling of craftsmanship, because that we makes a piece unique and special.
Yeah.
Yeah, great.
Rehab is saying, I believe it's more about reaching the right audience and cutting through the noise, which isn't easy for sure, but finding the way to do it is essential. Yes, Rehab. She's also a fashion designer, a sustainable fashion designer.
Okay, great. I think that's a really good point to conclude our session. Thank you very much for those who have participated. Thank you so much for the panels. We really value your yes.
I'm gonna be posting, you guys, in case that you have not joined us yet, the WhatsApp group. I'm gonna be posting the link in there. Please join the WhatsApp group. That way you are in the loop of every other panel that we're gonna be doing, every other event that is gonna be happening these 10 days. So I'm gonna just put it in here. Please feel free to invite your friends, and that way they don't need to register through the Eventbrite, but that way they're in the loop as to what is coming next.
And also, before everyone else wants to leave, if you are requesting a certificate of attendance, please join the WhatsApp group, message us there. We will definitely send it over to you once we get your details, or you can direct message me with your email address, and I can just connect with you through that, and we can send your certificate of attendance after this session. Thank you so much for everyone who joined. We really enjoyed this, and we had like really good, valuable exchange of ideas and very encouraging statements from our panel. Thank you so much. Thank you so much to Ms. Kashish. Thank you so much to Ms. Bertha and Mr. Michael and Araceli, our very own. Thank you so much for those who have joined tonight. Have a good night, and please enjoy the whole week of panel discussions. We have 3 more panel discussions in a styling session. Is that right? 3 more.
Yeah,
And
you're right.
styling session.
Tomorrow we talk about transparency in the supply chain. So I know in the room there was a lot of designers. Make sure tomorrow to join because it's going to be awesome, really.
Okay.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks a
Okay,
lot.
thank you,
See
guys.
tomorrow.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you so much.
Berta? Oh, she left already. I wanted to thank her really because she's joining from Peru and it's so far away. I don't even know what time it is for her. Thank you so much, Riha, for joining. Somia, Smita, Rachel, you guys are awesome. Thanks a lot for being here. Habiba, Anastasia. Okay, good. So now we need to oh, Habiba.
Thank you, and we will look forward to more sessions like this. Thank you so much.
Thank you. See, Aisa, how to stop
Oh, stop the
the
recording.
recording and the Facebook